Guys, today we're about redeeming Naruto's political beliefs. So we have to go through all of these characters here, and yeah, from Jiraiya to the Waikage. So yeah, I think the Waikage would be conservative, which is very different from real world. Because again, the Waikage is basically a family, a rich family of the ruling class of the hidden crowd. And yeah, most of the Kage would probably be in this area because most of the Kage want to promote the old traditional ways, except for a few, and basically just want to promote the traditions of the villages. So yeah, next is Killer B, who is next. Killer B, I think, would probably be up here. He is definitely a bit more liberal and a bit more free spirited, but he still deeply values the traditions of his own village, which does not make him liberal at all. This is Kisame. Kisame is basically a part of a anarchy group that basically wanted to bring peace through pain, which is the Akatsuki, and wanted to bring a dawn of peace. Basically, which is a very bad. Which again, they think the plan is good, but people would eventually rebel against them because they want to create a one world government. Which again, a one world government is basically what liberals want because they want to get rid of all the political rivals. It's basically like a socialist system that they want to create. Basically, Iruka, I think he'll just vote basically whatever he sees online. Whoever's ad he sees the best, he'll probably vote for that. Kakazu. Okay, Kakazu, I think he's the least liberal of the Akatsuki members. He loves money, and I think that's like his most important thing in life is money. He hates his own village, and he basically realizes the only thing in life really matters is money. Money, 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 money. And yeah, I think he would be considered because he loves money, but he hates his own village, but he loves money. And he's basically would do anything to get more money and to be rich. So yeah, I think he will. Yeah, next is Ino. I think Ino would be here. Ino would basically, protest, go online, talk about, BOM and stuff, talk about, feminism, talk about Uchiha Lives Matter, you know, as well. But he does want to, but at the end of the series, he does marry Sai and also wants to basically keep the tradition of the Ino Secret Swords is basically does require the nuclear family. That's the only real conservative thing about her. Next is Haku. Haku would basically either be would basically yeah Haku basically is a man who looks like a woman, who dresses and looks like a woman, and I think for that alone, Haku would be in this liberal tier. Not a leftist. I don't think Haku is a leftist because yeah. Next is Hiruzen. Again, another character is a part of the Konoha ruling class. I can put him. This would be least liberal to most liberal, and this would be least conservative to most conservative. There, yeah. So again, a part of the Konoha ruling class, basically, he basically just wants to keep the traditions, the old-fashioned way, and he wants to basically keep the traditions and beliefs and ideals of Konoha. Same thing with Hashirama. He basically founded the Konoha, traditions. He basically founded the Konoha ideals and basically kept the tradition basically as long as the series ran. Anko, I don't think he is really that political. She basically was, she's basically just a background character like Kuronai and some other characters. Donzo, yeah, I think Donzo goes in this one all the way at the bottom. Okay, Donzo basically just wants, you know, runs an underground organization and would have if he never would have if he wanted to. Basically, stays a coup against Konoha if he really wanted to, but he basically does really. Yeah, I think Donzo would be one of those guys. He'll basically try to manipulate his way to power if he does a democratic election and does things for his own selfish sakes. Deidara would be at the opposite. Deidara, he is a anarchist through and through, which would make him a leftist. But anarchists are basically the highest form of leftists. Besides, Fukaku. I think Fukaku would be down here as well. Fukaku is another guy. He's extremely traditional. He believes in the Uchiha. He really believes that the Uchihas are superior to everyone else, which basically makes him, believes that the Uchihas are literally better than everybody else. He believes that the Uchiha, which clans are basically akin to races in Naruto, he believes that the Uchihas as a race are the greatest of all time, and yeah, he'll basically want to get rid of people who don't agree with him on everything. Hidan, he literally worships the devil. So yeah, and the devil made him immortal. Next is Kiba. Kiba loves his animals. I think he'll be in groups like PETA and stuff like that. I think he'll be lower on here, but yeah, he basically would. Same thing with Carl and I. Yeah, they would all. They. I think they would probably be centrist, not liberal. Yeah, they do believe they do. They are part of the tracking cores as well. Gara, I think he is a part of the ruling class, but he is most likely centrist. I think he is the most center of the characters. Okay, the most center of the characters does besides Killer B. Killer B would be center left, and this would be center right. Garo would basically be in the middle. He is a part of the ruling class, but he did try to liberalize the hidden sand a bit, but he basically is a part of the, ruling class of the hidden sand, even though his own village hated him. But he still basically became Kazakage because he's part of the ruling class. Next is Hinata. Hinata would be that one girl. She basically defied her own clan's traditions and didn't want to fight. Basically, like her clan was basically born and raised to do. And basically, her own clan is basically like Sparta. They basically trained the kids to basically become warriors. And Hinata didn't want to become that. Hinata really wanted to become a housewife. You could say that's conservative, but she basically defied her clan's extremely conservative beliefs. Next is Conqueror. I think Conqueror is here. I think Conqueror would be apolitical. He doesn't really care much about politics. He just wants to work on his puppets and work on his art of puppetry and use them for battle in case his village gets attacked. Asuma, I think he'll be center. I don't really think he really leans anyway politically as well. He does love his own village, and he also is a part of the ruling class as well. Itachi Uchiha. Okay, Itachi, he just loves his village and will do anything to protect it. And he also passed down this to Naruto in the Fourth Great Shinobi World War and will do anything to protect the village. I think he is just in the center, like with all of these characters here. Yeah, you're going in the leftist. He loves science. He loves experimenting on people, even if they're inhumane. And yeah, like Orochimaru, which will likely be on that tier as well. He loves doing his experiments, doesn't care if they're inhumane, for the progress of technology. Conan. The thing is with Pain and Conan is they're pretty traditional character. They're pretty traditional for members of the Akatsuki. But they do basically want to create a one world government, a one government society where they rule basically. I think Conan, along with Nagato, would probably be at the moderate liberal list. Considering that they allowed characters like Deidara and Hidan, and they're basically like the leaders of the Akatsuki along with Obito Uchiha. Next is Toji. I think Toji, he does value his traditions and his family. Toji is a family man in Boruto. For the first couple of times, I always put him in liberal for some reason, but I think, yeah, he's a family man. He believes in the Amitiki traditions should be passed down and stuff like that. So I think he would be, but he did marry outside of his village, which does break the traditions of his village. So yeah, he did marry someone outside of his village, which broke village traditions, which would make him around here. Kakashi, he's apolitical. I don't think we really need to argue that. Okay, Madara goes down here too. It's funny that Donzo hates Uchihas, but he aligns himself mostly politically with Uchihas. Madara basically does got angry because he didn't get Rita. He didn't accept the results that Hashirama won, and he basically wanted to try to do everything he can to win. And then he basically started battles against Hashirama because he wanted to prove that Hashirama was wrong, and basically really had. Basically, he was an Uchiha nationalist and believed that Uchiha should have been the Rita. May, she is the the Hidden Mist is a pretty strange place. I think, unlike the other great villages, I think she's more of like in the center, or in the, I think she would be in the rib. But I think she would be one of those people who would be like one of the, one of those old people who believe in the old traditions but want to change things. But yeah, I think she would be in the center. Mike Guy, Mike Guy. Okay, Mike Guy is a tough one. I don't really think Mike Guy would be political. To be honest, I don't really think Mike Guy would care. He just likes training, likes working out, and likes getting strong. But he does love masculinity, which is a conservative trait. I think he'll be down here, basically. And he basically trashed down his beliefs to Waikage. I think he'd be one of those tough guys at the gym, who would. Yeah, I think he'll either be apolitical or down here. I think he's apolitical. Minato, I think he'll be up here. No, I think, where would Minato lie? Because Minato is definitely, I think, but Minato did believe a lot in the nuclear family and things believing the old way. But I think he'll be near the bottom of the conservative one. Okay, for the same reasons as Conan, Naruto would be here. Naruto, the main character of this show. Okay, Naruto, he loves everybody. I think Naruto would be around here. Yeah. Naruto really wants to change everything and really wants to get. He is a bit of a traditionalist, but he basically wanted to change things. And also, when Naruto was Hokage, there were these huge leaps in scientific advancements because they allowed Orochimaru, of all people, to continue his experiments. I know Kakashi did as well, but he didn't really want to be Hokage. But Naruto allowed that to continue, and he allowed, most of these scientific advancements to continue, and basically progress society. But he did love his village. I think he does love his village so much he became Hokage. I think he'll be around either here. Okay, I think these two are near the top of Red Bull. Not leftist, but near the top. I think Naruto is kind of like more of a moderate liberal. The very definition. Neji, he's traditional. He believes in the clans. He believes that people had go one way. He believes that people should follow tradition. Yeah, he's one of those guys. Okay, he's one of those guys. He believes that everybody should follow like tradition and stuff. Obito literally started a world war because his girlfriend died. I think he'll be one of those guys who would not care about politics because he only cares about Rin dying. I know there's more than that, but yeah, but I think he's also a nihilist, which most nihilists tend to be leftists. He doesn't care about this world, he doesn't give a shit about anything, and he basically doesn't care about governments or anything. He just wants to get rid of it all, which I think he'll be up there, because at the end of the series, but then he changes his mind, he says, I don't want to do this bad thing anymore. But yeah, basically throughout the whole series, and also he did found the Akatsuki as well, and manipulate people just like Madara did. I think he'll be around here. I don't think he's full out leftist. Onoki, yeah, he's that. He's one of those guys who he's like one of those old whippersnapper people. He'll talk about how great the good old days are. Yeah, Onoki is also part of the ruling class as well. Orochimaru, yeah, he's leftist. He's the farthest left Naruto character. He's basically conducts experiments and does stuff experiments for technological advancement in Boruto, but also he does heinous experiments on animals and people and stuff. And that isn't. Yeah, he's just a crazy guy. He goes here. Walkley, I think he goes with a guy. Sai. Well, Sai basically, yeah, Sai would be one of those guys who, yeah, he just does what Donzo says, and I think because Donzo trained him to be the way he is, I think he'll be down here. Sakura again, I think she'll be by Ino. I think there's no other reason why she would not be by Ino. Sasori. Sasori, I think he'll be a liberal. He has been through really bad. He had a really bad life, but he basically, just went away from his village and just never came back, and basically joined the Akatsuki, and basically did experiments on himself, and turned himself into basically a mortal puppet, and turned his heart into like he basically became a puppet, and yeah, he basically literally believes in the Akatsuki's dream, which basically wants to recreate the world. I think he'll be down here with Nagato and Konan. Next is Sasuke. Sasuke, I think, has always been like down here. Yeah, Sasuke is just full of hatred. He seeked out Uchimaru, and yeah, he wanted to kill his own brother, but then he wanted to become Hokage, basically similar to Donzo. I think, and then he basically becomes basically like Donzo of the Hidden Reef 2.0, basically a shadow reader who does stuff, but he's never there. I think he'll be down here. Shikamaru, I think he'll be with Naruto. He's a guy who loves his traditions, but basically is pretty lazy and sometimes and just wants to do things his own way. I think Shikamaru would probably be here. Sino, he's that weird science kid who loves bugs and insects and biology and evolution. I think he would be around here. Next is Shisui. Shisui, I think, is pretty liberal. Wanted to change Fukaku away from his nationalist ideals. I think he would be centrist, which is pretty far left for an Uchiha. Next is Tamari. I think Tamari would just go. Tamari is pretty traditionalist, and I think she's the most conservative of all of the three Kazakage families of the family. Tenten, is there really anything remarkable about Tenten? She's so forgettable that I don't even know her own political beliefs. So I just put it on the side. She's just one of those people who just I won't decide who to vote for. Toriyama is a literal hidden reef nationalist. I think he'll be up here. Yeah, he's a literal hidden reef nationalist. Tusande, I think, yes, he loves money and he loves gambling, doing bad and doing stuff, but he is part of the Senju ruling class. Next is, this guy, Yamato. Yeah, he'll be one of those guys who will decide at the last second who to vote for. Next is Zabuza. Zabuza is, I think he's just a hired mercenary that just wants to fight people because his own village abandoned him and he left his own village. He's a rogue ninja. I think he'll be apolitical. He doesn't align himself with any political party. Zetsu wants to revive Kaguya, basically. Zetsu is a strange character because there's two Zetsus. There's white Zetsu and black Zetsu. But we're just going to talk about black Zetsu. Black Zetsu just wants to revive Kaguya and bring back her old ways. I think that would be. I don't think he really cares about politics. I think he just wants to revive Kaguya, and he'll do so at any cost. Jiraiya. Yeah, Jiraiya believes in the old ways a lot, like Tusande as well. But he also likes looking at women with, again, a lot of, viewing women as objects is basically a part of the old-fashioned way of life. I think he'll be further up here, on here. So this is the Naruto political tier list. Of course, comment of who you think which characters should be. Did I make any mistakes? Or am I correct in this tier list? Goodbye.